Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all our media friends, delegates, and all those people who are joining in online to this media interaction organized by the Press Information Bureau, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Today, we have with us three different films and people representing the three movies. On my immediate right is Tina Barkalaya. She is the director of the movie Hoffman's Fairy Tales. Uh, right next to Tina is Matthew Leutweiler, and he's here on behalf of the movie Fight Like a Girl. So welcome, Matthew. And also we have with us the actor of the movie, Ama Kamata,
Hello.
and I got it right. So she's the actor of the movie, and the third movie is Fragile Blood, and we have with us the director Una Selma. So welcome to Una. So before we play the trailers of the movies, I'll give a brief synopsis of the movies, and then we'll have the trailers. Okay. Hoffman's Fairy Tales is set in the early 2000s, and as the Soviet era fades into a westernized parody, the film follows the protagonist, a timid woman trapped in a marriage with Whiteley and exploiting her for an apartment. So, this movie is essentially a dilemma that she faces and how this reshapes her life dramatically. The second movie, Fight Like a Girl, is actually talks about a young woman from the Democratic Republic of Congo who's forced to work in an illegal mine and she escapes her captors. She finds a new life after joining a renowned all women boxing club in the border city of Goma. So, this is a very interesting script. And the third movie, Fragile Blood, this talks about a society where reality blurs with myth. And the protagonist struggles to conform to societal norms. Trapped in a codependent marriage with her husband, she risks traumatizing her daughter, Astra. So she has to make a choice, and this movie is about the dilemma. So before we get to their opening remarks, let's have the trailer of the three movies. So we'll start with the Hoffman's Tales. Next, we'll play the trailer of Fight Like a Girl.
In case you hadn't noticed, the fight has come to you. Everyone here is being delivered from the West. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Hapana, siko. Yangu natumia baby. How do you know that someone who will fit this you? Uzabye safi. Uzabye kabisa.
Are you the one with the high punch? I believe it or not. I can't really to box. I have a team. This is Marcella and of course Aisha. Okay, let's see this punch.
Just much, I don't pick up people's. God made a beautiful bitch and sleep. He made her damn. You don't think we should fight?
I don't think anyone should fight. This country is fortunate. Everyone here has been fighting for too long.
Would I get the chance to meet the person who lived? I get tired of it.
Hii ni kama petit, unasikia?
Loma kuna. Ozama soba. Iko na maisha poa hapa.
Hii ndio maisha bora.
We are all damaged here. We can heal.
You have to find a way to give him a chance. I can't believe that joining those other boys is the only way to survive this fight. But this little one would be a good one. Teach him to be a man who doesn't hurt women.
Most people think that boxing takes healing. It gives far more than
Nataka kupigana mshambiona Afrika.
you know she's not ready.
That fight will show it anyway. What's in the invasion?
No one in this continent can hit you as hard as you've already been hit. But there's no stronger fight than I can overcome what I do. You fought the people who stole my family. You fought what I've become. You fought to survive and seize the moment. You have given you the confidence to know that you can never. It's impossible. You will step into that ring, the invincible warrior. You will unleash all that.
Nishinda.
The gripping trailer. So now let's move to the third film, that is Fragile Play.
Ладоустав, Индустриаль.
Visual seks.
Hier abseits der Sex, das sind diejenigen, die sind ja Gegenstände. Das ist das. Serie?
There's no solution. There's no solution. Yeah, no.
Надо что-то текст.
So this movie is being it has its international premiere, and it is being screened under the Cinema of the World category. The movie Fight Like a Girl. Its world premiere at IFFI, and it is being screened under the Cinema of the World category. And for the Hoffman's Fairy Tale, it is the international premiere of this movie under the international competition category. So something that we noticed in the trailer was all three films have strong women protagonists in the lead role and a strong women-centric theme. So we will now go to the panel for their opening remarks. So we will start with Tina.
Я очень рада сегодня всех приветствовать. Меня зовут Тина Баркалая, я режиссер, и я грузинка, поэтому у меня две родины, это Грузия и Россия, безусловно, от которой я представляю эту картину.
Hello, my name is Tina, and I'm really glad to greet everyone here. I am Georgian, so I have two motherlands, Russia and Georgia.
Это мой первый фильм, дебют, и для меня очень важно было снять личную историю.
So that is my debut feature, so that is why for me it was very important to make a personal film.
Нашу главную героиню зовут Надеждой, что не случайно в данной ситуации, потому что там есть фраза «верните Надежду». Это та табличку, которую кладет она всегда, она библиотекарь, в книжку перед тем, как отдать ее посетителю.
So the name of the protagonist is Nadezhda, and this is not a coincidence because this word also can be translated from Russian as hope. And she, the protagonist, she is always putting a bookmark in every book she is giving to the customers of the library. And the title on this bookmark says, "Bring back hope."
Я могу сказать о том, что, ну вот, чтобы не быть голословной, это история про женщину, которая достаточно не похожа на других, только тем, что она не всегда умеет сказать слово «нет».
So you can say this is also a movie about a woman who is different from others, and in a way it's a film about a woman who cannot say no when she should.
Я просто приведу вам пример. Вот этот портрет Маргариты Грачевой, которую несколько назад муж отрубил обе руки, и, слава богу, его после этого посадили, но это был семейный абьюз. Она родила от него двоих детей, и пока он ее не привязал к дереву, не отрубил ей руки, ничем хорошим, к сожалению, это не закончилось. Но вот сейчас она написала книгу на эту тему. Маргарита Грачева.
So that was the picture of Margarita Gracheva. Recently there was an accident of domestic abuse. Her husband tied her to the tree and cut both of her hands. Luckily he is in jail and she got those very new prosthetics, but she had two kids from him and she was tolerating his abuse for many years.
21 век.
And this is happening in 21st century, so unless this happened, she was still with him.
Это происходит здесь и сейчас, и происходит везде. Я уверена, что и в Индии, и в Грузии, и в России, и в любой стране.
So it is happening here and now in 21st century, I'm sure in every country, in India, in Georgia, in Russia.
Я очень надеюсь, я хотела эту историю рассказать как сказка. У сказки всегда счастливый конец.
But I wanted the story to be a fairy tale, and fairy tale always have a happy ending.
И я всегда говорю о том, что настоящая жизнь начинается после финала сказки.
And I always say that the real life always starts after the happy end of the fairy tale.
Я очень надеюсь, что каждая женщина сможет сделать так, чтобы после объявленного финала она могла сама поставить точку так, как она хочет.
And I really want for each woman to be able to put the final dot at the point after the final when she wants to put this final dot.
Ну, пожалуй, все. Я не знаю, я думаю, что какой у меня... Я передам.
So
Yeah.
that's it from my side, I guess. Thank
Смотрите
you.
кино.
And watch more films. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. Now we'll have the remark of Matthew.
Hi. This has been a really great experience being here. I've never been to Goa before. I've been to Mumbai in India before, but it's the first time here in Goa, and it's been incredible. And the festival, I have to say, is one of the most well-run and organized festivals I've ever been to. That said, our movie is called Fight Like a Girl. It was inspired by a docu-series that I've been working on with my producing partner, Anton Lanes, for the past 3 years. It's based on a true story about a all-female boxing club in East Congo that was started by an ex-child soldier who became middleweight champ of Congo, and then was approached by a young woman who had been a victim of sexual violence, and asked if he would train her, and he did. And then more women started coming, and he really wasn't trying to teach women to box to become professionals, but he was trying to use boxing as a way for them to, almost try and become whole again, and get their confidence back. So it grew and grew, and boxing in Congo is a very male-dominated sport, and he was actually approached by some elders who told him he had to stop because women's place wasn't in boxing, and he basically said, "No, I'm gonna keep doing this." And eventually, a young woman came to him whose father had been killed in an attack on her village, and she wanted to learn to box. She was 14 at the time, I think. And he found out a couple of months into her training that she was there to learn how to fight so she could track down the men who had killed her husband or killed her father and killed him. And Kibamongo is the name of the coach, and he sat her down and he goes, "That's not what we do here. So if you're going to do that, you have to leave." And she stayed. And about a year later, she transformed into somebody that was really embracing what the sport was about, and it had really helped her overcome a lot of the issues that she had. So it was really inspiring for me when I met these women originally, and we've been following them, like I said, for the last few years. So we decided to make a scripted version of it, and brought in this wonderful actress from South Africa, Ama, and we shot last summer in DR Congo. I believe we're the first Western narrative film to shoot in East Congo. It was at the height of the M23 war, really, with East Congo, and so it was pretty dicey shooting there. One of the unique aspects of this film is many of the boxers from the real team and the street kids who live outside the gym, who we've been following for the past few years, play versions of themselves in the movie. So the supporting cast, I'd say, is probably 80% non-actors. And boy, it brings an authenticity to the movie that is it's just beautiful. So we continue to work on the docuseries. We probably have another 6 months to go on that, after taking this hiatus to shoot this movie, and we're glad to bring it to the world soon and have you guys see it here. It was really great. So thank you again, and I'm gonna pass it off to you here.
So, Una, would you like to share your experience?
Women, time for women is coming in the movies, so it's more and more films about women issues. So I'm very glad about it. Unfortunately, I'm born not in that era, unfortunately. So it was era for men mostly, and my film is actually taking theme about domestic violence, which is issue in our country still. And of course we have a law, but the law doesn't work, because even if you are calling to police, nothing is going on. And even in this year, it's more than 3 women were killed by their husbands. And so many of these stories I have heard from
women. Just women I met, okay, at work, on the way, on clubs. So, and I thought, why these stories are still coming to me, and I thought it means I need to do something about it. So I made this film. I have anything or to say more.
Thank you, everyone. Now we'll open the floor for questions from the audience. Uh, Audience. Yes.
All right, my question is to director Matthew and Ama. For the film Fight Like a Girl, what was the inspiration for the name? Was it something that goes along the lines of like a playground insult when people are fighting and they say you fight like a girl, or was it something along the lines of it's women centric and you're focusing on that? So, or was it a play on words? And also, would it be something? How much training did you actually have to go through? Because to be a boxer, and you said a lot of the people were actually not professional actors. So, what was the training that went in? So, one question to the director, and of course
Well,
to the actors.
first off, we're not going to answer your question because you're a man and we want to have a woman answer to give us a first question. But hey, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Let's start with the training.
Okay, so to prepare for the film, I had never been in a fight in my life. I'm not a fighter. I'm such a scary cat. And when it comes to, well, not physically. So it was a huge challenge for me to actually step out and do something like that. And I had conversations with Matt about me training 4 hours a day. So I'll train 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, 6 days a week, just to prepare for the role and get my mind. Yeah, and to get my mind to know the practices of boxing. But I think, well, obviously Matt came up with the title Fight Like a Girl, but with me reading the script, it was such an incredible title because it's not just about boxing. My character goes through a lot of challenges. She has to fight through life. She has to fight a corrupt system. She has to fight, just to live, and as a woman, abuse and stuff like that. So I thought it was quite a beautiful parallel that she's a fighter in real life. Sorry, and a boxer as well. So yeah.
Just adding on to what Ama said, and this question is for Una. See, the issues like emotional abuse or intergenerational conflicts, these are all very sensitive things. And these are things that are very less talked about in the society or even in the movies. How difficult was it for you to bring this to the screen and, to depict this on the bigger screen?
Yes, it was very hard actually because nobody wanted to finance. They said we don't have violence in our country. So actually, we did it with budget something about 20,000 euros. Actors, cameraman, everybody worked without payment.
I mean, that's hard, and I hope that this inspires more movies to come around these
I think
subjects.
it's cheapest film at this festival.
Might be the cheapest film, ever.
Но по картинке этого не скажешь.
But you won't say this looking at the trailer and the image.
Да, погляди.
I have a question for Tina also. You have been someone who has worked in commercials and music videos before this, and I believe this is your first feature film. How was this transition like? And you have come up with a very interesting top theme for your movie.
Вы знаете, я изначально кинорежиссер и закончила институт кинематографии и снимала много короткого метра и побеждала на разных фестивалях. Просто в какой-то момент 90-е годы унесли меня в рекламу и в клипы, как это бывает, потому что я очень благодарна этому опыту, потому что я научилась работать быстро, интересно и красиво. И это большой жизненный и профессиональный опыт.
So actually, I graduated as a film director, And I worked on many short films. But in 90s, as it happened, the tide left me in advertisement and musical videos. But I'm very grateful for this experience because it taught me how to work quickly and beautifully. So for this experience, I'm very grateful nevertheless.
И я могу сказать, что снимая этот фильм, этот рекламный опыт, безусловно, мне пригодился. Я могу сказать о том, что для меня очень важна визуальная картина. Я человек тактильный, очень много чувствую руками. Я считаю, что кино – это то, что можно вышивать и через это чувствовать.
So I'm a very tactile person, and visual aspect is very important for me. And in that sense, my experience from working in advertisement was very helpful because I believe that cinema is something that also should be felt. It should be like embroidery in a way.
Я все время хотела сказать о том, что мы сейчас делаем у нас сейчас несколько проектов других в запуске. И вообще очень интересно быть режиссером, и мне повезло, что я в 17 лет так попала в кино, потому что мир настолько интересен, у нас есть уникальная возможность рассказать свои или чужие истории и показать их миру. И дай бог, чтобы нам это удавалось, и были большие бюджеты.
So I just wanted to say how lucky I was at the age of 17 to enter this world of cinema, currently working on 2 projects. And I just want to say that it's a really unique opportunity that we should really use to tell our stories and tell stories of others that are important and hopefully get bigger budgets for such projects.
We have questions. Yes.
To ask about the use of Baccarat. It's very well used throughout the movie.
So can you be louder on the mic?
Use of Baccarat, Offenbach piece.
Да,
It's
Оффенбах, да, безусловно.
Yeah, throughout the movie.
Безусловно, это тема нашего фильма, тема сказок Гофмана, Оффенбаха и Баркароллы, безусловно, потому что, вы знаете, я сама закончила, я с 5 лет занималась музыкой, моя сестра пианистка, и я выросла в классической музыке, и все смеялись над тем, что у нас в доме всегда были рояли, и я спала около рояля, моя сестра с 8 утра начинала заниматься. Поэтому для меня тема сказок Гофмана – это тема моего детства.
Yeah, this is the theme throughout the movie. Actually, my sister, she's a pianist, and I was also learning music since I was 5, and everybody was always joking about our family because there was a huge piano standing, and I would sleep right next to it, and my sister will start practicing at 8 a.m. So for me, Hoffman fairy tales, they were always interconnected and related to this music as well.
И это сказочно, я очень люблю эту тему, и, наверное, поэтому мы используем именно Оффенбаха, а не Чайковского.
And that is why we're using Offenbach and not Tchaikovsky, because I think it has more of a fairy tale feeling to it.
Да, у нас много разной музыки, и в том числе, поскольку действие нашей картины идет, как говорится у нас, в то время, когда еще можно было улыбаться без смайликов, поэтому у нас очень много музыки 90-х годов, модная в то время питерская группа «Калибри» и много западной музыки. У меня был замечательный музыкальный продюсер на этом фильме.
Yeah, so I had a great musical producer, so we have, of course, different kind of music, and it was a time when people were able to smile without using emojis. So we had a great music from 90s, like a band called Calibri from St. Petersburg, and lots of Western music that was popular at this point of time.
И музыка это важно. Вообще кино это видео и аудио, поэтому иначе и когда поэтому мы можем творить, у нас есть возможность немножечко видеть этот мир и слышать. Опять-таки.
Yeah, so for me, cinema obviously is an audiovisual experience, so music is of utmost importance, and that's how we perceive the world.
Но иногда тишина делает гораздо больше, чем музыка.
But sometimes silence can be even more efficient than music.
I have a question for Amma. You have been part of the Netflix hit Blood and Water, and this must have been a different experience for you. How intensive was the training, and how was the process like? How did Matthew prepare you for the role?
It was very different. I mean, it's Netflix, and then it's working in Congo for 2 months. But it was great. I always say that this experience really changed me. I think the fact that what I like about the story is the fact that Matthew really used like the environment of Congo and the people around it. So in Blood and Water, I'm working with actors, right? Where here I'm actually working with real people, and these are their real life experiences, and they're like letting me into that. So yeah, it was great.
Thank you, Emma. Any more questions?
No women are going to ask a question. Really? There we go.
Yeah, my question is for Fragile Plat. I was very curious and inquisitive the moment I saw the title. I want to know, how did you deduce to this wordplay of Fragile Plat? It's very interesting. Could you please explain more on that?
Original film is Blue Blood. It's because the people are coming for, we can say, from higher society. And higher society always something you can imagine with blue blood. Just what?
So, any more questions from the women crowd out here? Now that Matthew has told it. So,
my question is to Amma. I have come to know that your story is based on true events.
Yeah.
What made you to think that a film should be made on the subject? Were you too much impressed by the true events and affected by the true events?
Thank you. Well, I think because Matt wrote the story, he would be better to answer that question. But I think for me, how it helped me is getting into character. When you're actually working with the people that you're telling their story, I took that very to my heart. It was not it was a very sensitive thing for me to be able to tell the story as authentically as possible. And I really had a great experience, a life-changing experience in Congo. You know, it was great. But I think Matt would.
That's kind of we talked a lot about that when we would get through some pretty difficult days. Every day was difficult, but we would talk about how important it was. It's not just a movie.
Yeah.
We really hope that this film can help change their lives. They recently lost their gym, and we're working to raise money to buy a plot of land and rebuild a new gym for them. Yeah, it's that's when art is at its best. You know, when it can influence people and change lives of people and change people's perspectives and introduce people from different parts of the world to each other. You know, I love that when you go into the cinema, I can be taken to another country, I can be taken to a different world, I can be introduced to a different perspective on life, a different worldview, and hopefully, it makes people a little bit closer.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah, every day was, but we really talked about that almost every day.
I think that's a nice statement to close the press conference from Matthew. Okay, sorry. We'll have a question.
Like he mentioned that it's an international premiere. So what made you choose this IFFI to be your choice of the premiere?
That's interesting. You know, the funny thing is the film, this is the first time we've shown it to anybody, and the film has actually been cut by 8 minutes from the version we showed here. We haven't finished that yet. So this is the last time and first time that version will ever be seen. And it's probably my favorite version of the film, but we needed to get it a little shorter because our sales agents, people like that, wanted it shorter. But I shot a TV series here called State of Siege, 26/11, right around the pandemic. And I live half the time in Rwanda and half the time in the U.S. And so I when the opportunity came, we looked at this festival. The timing was right, and I was kind of excited to just come back to India. You know, it's been 4 years since I've been here for that show. I was here for almost half a year, and so that's kind of what it was. And we've heard great things about this festival. I've never been to it before, and why not? Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you everyone for joining the press conference. I wish you a wonderful experience here at IFFI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Спасибо огромное.
Tina would like to add something.
Нет. Я просто хотела сказать, что вот даже сейчас я смотрю на этот зал, и действительно женщин меньше. Вот как ни странно здесь. Вот.
No, I just want to thank everyone and just, like a little observation looking at this audience, there are less women
Так же,
sitting
как в
here.
жюри, в конкурсе, женщин меньше. Хотя так не должно быть.
And the same can be said about jury, the same can be said about competition films, and it shouldn't be like this.
Спасибо.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.